more impressed with the Raptors because they didn't pick the foot off the gas. I think a lot of times when teams know that they should win, and they look over there, no KD, no Clay, they say, we're going to kill a gnat with a sledgehammer today.
I agree with that.
And, Skip, from the first quarter on, they never let the Warriors get within 7. I thought Siakam and Marc Gasol was really aggressive early, and it didn't matter the matchup. You see Siakam? He's like, Iggy, you're too small. Punished him. They try to go to Livingston. He punished him. And so now, because you got to have Draymond to try and guard Kawhi to try to slow him down. But I like, I want to say Powell so bad, Marc Gasol, because, Skip, he was extra aggressive. He would put the ball on the floor. He's like, no. I'm not going to give you a little measly 6 points like I did the last game. I'm going to give you some buckets today. And I like that. As Jen read, all 5 starters had at least 17 points. Kyle Lowry was unbelievable yesterday. He needed that. Danny Green. And sometimes, Skip, when you know what, when the shots are falling, like Danny Green threw up late last night, he threw a couple up early. But when he hit that shot late after Kawhi saves it from going out of bounds, and then Van Fleet does that again, sometimes, Skip, you just got to throw your hands up and say, guys, we'll get y'all game 4. Because there's nothing you can do. They could do no wrong last night. Every run that the Warriors would start, they would quail it. They would find a way to suppress that. Steph had it going the entire night. The first quarter, he the one that kept him in it. And I was like, dude, the only way y'all can lose this game if y'all let Steph go for like 60. He's well on his way. Is anybody going to, just double him? But, Skip, you see Steve Kerr put a bug in the official's ear. They tried that box. They tried that box and won, and they got a lot of zone defense call, and Steph Curry was going up there knocking it down. But you had to be impressed with the Warriors. And this goes to show you, Skip, I don't care the type of performance that you have. A good to great team will suppress any one player. And that's what we saw last night. We saw this is the second most points ever scored in the finals game in a loss. We saw the one last year.
Did we ever?
Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah.
And now
we saw LeBron James with 49 points at the end of regulation, and he was too afraid to take the shot to win the game.
All I know.
Who knew?
We saw Steph Curry have a playoff career high, and he never got within 7, and they lost by 14. That's what we know. So I was very impressed with the Raptors because they came out in the game. You hate saying, series tied 1-1, a must-win. Yeah, this was a must-win because if you can't beat them without KD, you can't beat them from start to finish without Klay Thompson, you deserve to lose that game and that series. And that's what would have happened had they not did what they did last night. So I was very impressed with the Raptors.
Now it's my turn. You make some pretty good points. How could I not be impressed with what Toronto did last night? And I was. But in the end, as I stepped away and tried to go to sleep and couldn't go to sleep, I was more unimpressed with what Golden State could not do, especially Steph Curry. Right before my very eyes, as I stepped back last night, I saw Steph's mystique and magic fade at Oracle. Those were as quiet of 47 points as I've ever seen from anybody, especially that guy who can be as explosive a three-point shooter as we have ever seen in the history of this game. Those were as impactless of 47 points as I can ever remember because there were more 2s than 3s. It was not a three-point shooting barrage from Steph Curry, right? He made 6. He has a career-high 13. So he made 6. And wait a second, Danny Green made 6 for the other team? What did I tell you about Danny Green? Where is he? He's disappeared. I said, trust me, I know him. Watched him for all those years in San Antonio. It's finals time. He will rise and shine. He will snap right out of his slump. And did he ever last night, right on schedule.
Will he go missing again in Game 4?
Okay. He will come and he will go. But he will come back again.
Game 1 and 3, he came.
Well, again, you can trust that down the stretch, and we're just getting started with this series. I still say Golden State's going to win in 7 games, and we've only played 3. Okay, but Danny Green showed you what he is capable of on the biggest stage in the sport with those, especially those 3 in the flurry late in the third quarter. And what did I tell you yesterday? I told you Kyle Lowry was going to make 4 threes, and he made 5. You were saying, where's Kyle Lowry?
Yeah,
I said he plays better on the road. He crumbles under the pressure to live up to his superstardom at home, and he is a 5-time All-Star. So they were making threes at a higher rate than Steph Curry was. So, in the end, I will give you this. Toronto, look, there was no Clay and no KD, and there's no Kevon Looney. And I'm going to say it one more time because this is a big little loss. Kevon Looney, he's their best rim protector. He is their best post defender. He is their best pick setter. And that's a big gaping hole to have in the middle of that lineup.
Right. Yeah.
And our man DeMarcus Cousins, because he's just trying to play his way back in shape, he came up real small last night, right?
He became unplayable.
Okay? But it was supposed to be all about Steph. And remember, the point spread still hovered above water all the way. It fell at the end of the night, right before tip-off. It fell all the way to 2.5. But Golden State was still favored at home. And by the way, they're still favored by 5.5 to win Game 4. So the bettors, and especially the odds makers, are saying, wait a second. Even if there's no Clay and no KD, and it's still possible there'll be no Clay and no KD on Friday night.
That is correct.
Okay? Even though you're still looking at a team that's still really good. Steph Curry's won 2 MVPs, one unanimously, right? And Draymond Green has made 3 All-Star teams and 5-time All-Defensive team, and most people say he's on a Hall of Fame arc, right? Well, was he out there last night?
Yep.
Okay. You could say, well, I didn't see very much of him, but he was supposed to be out there. DeMarcus Cousins is a 4-time All-Star, and he was out there. And Iguodala made an All-Star team once upon a time, and he's a Finals MVP. So I thought, and you were probably hoping at tip-off, there's still that 3-ring pride that this team has. There's still that heart of champion pride, right?
Skip, there's not one chance. Once I realized that Klay Thompson was not going to play, there's not one second.
Okay, it's easy for you to hindsight 2020.
No. I'm saying once it became abundantly clear that he wasn't going to play, it was breaking news. Klay Thompson will be
How many times have we seen the wounded tiger theory, as I was taught as a young reporter covering the NBA? Wounded tiger theory says you better be careful when they got 3 stars, or you better be careful because they're all going to pull together and suck it up and gut it out and say, watch this, because they were at home. That's supposed to be their house,
I know,
right?
Skip, but at some point in time, you got to have the talent to bind together.
Okay.
And come on now, let's be real. I mean, Quinn Cook is a great story. Bogut, McKinney, Jordan Bell, Jerebko. Really, Skip?
You know, Bogut once upon a time made all NBA. That's how good he was.
Yeah.
All NBA.
But how long ago that's been? That's been many
I'm
injuries
just saying,
ago.
but he's got some.
But Skip,
he's decorated.
Skip, you can't say a guy made something 13 years ago and think he's that same guy, because he's not.
Okay, but the guy who was in the heat of the storm last night, the guy who was in the proverbial catbird seat, who had the golden, as in Golden State, opportunity to show us that he did not need Kevin Durant or even his splash brother Klay Thompson with Steph Curry. Am I right about that?
No, that's not.
Well, I'm going to start it. I'm starting it right now because that's what happened. No, it is. So what happened in the third quarter? Steph Curry tried to go globe-trotter. He tried to put on the show of shows because what does Golden State do in the third quarter? They own it. What did they do at Toronto? Thanks to the failing of number 2. What did they do coming out of the gates in the second half in the third quarter? Help me out, Mr. Sharpe. What did your researcher tell you?
-5.
Okay. No, they gave up an 18-0 run to start the third quarter. And it was a 20-0 run going back to the second quarter. Right. And where was number 2 during 20-0? If you're that guy, you should stop that.
How?
Well, he did not.
He can't cover everybody.
Oh, come on.
Skip, he had 40.
Okay, so the point is, here came Steph. We're talking about last night now.
Okay.
Steph Curry took 13 shots in the third quarter. If you multiply that times 4, do you realize that would be the most shots ever attempted in a finals game? That would be 52 shots. Wilt once upon a time took 48. My old radio partner in San Francisco, Rick Barry, once took 48. Right. But Steph was on track in the third quarter to take 52 total shots if you multiply it out. And what happened? He only made 2 threes, right?
But he had 15 points.
Okay, but he's a 3-point gunner. It's what he does. It's what that building is geared for. It wants to explode on 3-point shots, and they could not explode because every time you thought that here comes the steamroll, here comes the overpowering Steph Curry where he just shoots you out of the gym, Toronto answered every shot with 3-point shots.
If you don't mind me asking, Skip, but what was Toronto supposed to do? Let him shoot 3? They did a great job of running him off the 3-point line.
I'm just saying, but that's who he's supposed to be.
But Skip,
that was his night.
That
was his night. That should have been his night.
Okay, Skip.
Okay?
But
help me out. Did you think he had 47? Because at the end of the game, I'm like, 47? Where did those come from?
Skip,
A lot of twos, a lot of free throws. Those will not do it at Oracle.
But here-
they will not start the fire.
But let me ask you a question. Is this team, how good is this team? If you take this team as it's constructed right now, minus KD, minus Klay Thompson,
Okay,
how good are they with Steph?
I'm making a point. I'm going to keep going on my point.
Well, I mean, you gonna let me
What
talk?
was the final score? I'm talking right now. It's my turn. You got your turn. You went blah, 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 blah out of the box here.
You don't like what I
can't even
said,
remember
Bubba.
a point
Go ahead, make your point.
Okay, what was the real final score of
don't
this
know.
game? 17-12. That was the final score because Toronto out-Stephed Steph in his own house 17-12 in three-point shots. And they were made by any and
You
everybody.
know what you just said? You said they out three-pointed Steph.
Yeah.
What about the Warriors?
Well,
it's
I'm
a
just saying.
team game.
Okay.
You always want to make it about an individual. It's a team sport, not an individual sport.
Guess what last night proved? Who was my MVP pick before the series started? Klay Thompson.
So they'd have won the game. If they'd have had Klay instead of Steph, they'd have won.
They would have definitely won the game.
You out your mind.
with Klay and Steph.
No.
Stop
No. You just said Klay is more valuable. So
I didn't say he's more valuable. I just said you have to have him. Steph needs him. It has to be Splash Brothers, plural. It's not Splash Brothers.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
How many MVPs for Klay?
Well, again, he is completely underrated to me. That's why he deserves to have a finals
I'm not
MVP.
saying that he's not underrated,
okay.
but I'm asking. So
Okay.
you saying he's a better player than Steph Curry?
No, but he is extremely valuable. And he's right up there because
Is
he
he
can
more
defend.
valuable than Steph?
He can defend at a high level.
Yes,
and all
he
of a
can.
sudden, number two had his way last night because there's no primary defender because Iggy's hobbled and Klay is out.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.